Victor M. McCree, who is the NRC's Executive Director for Operations. In this role, he serves as the Chief Operating Officer of the Commission and is authorized and directed to discharge the operational and administrative functions necessary for the day-to-day operations of the agency. Mr. McCree joined the NRC in 1988 as an operations engineer in the Office of Nuclear Reactor Regulation. Over the years, he has held many leadership positions at the NRC, including most recently serving as the regional administrator in the NRC's Region 2 office in Atlanta, Georgia. Prior to joining the NRC, Mr. McCree was a nuclear-trained submarine officer and completed Nuclear Engineer Office certification. He also served on the staff of the Chief of Naval Operations and retired from the U.S. Naval Reserve as a commander. He is a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy and holds an executive MBA from Georgia State University. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend, Victor McCree.
Thanks, Bill, and good morning, everyone. On behalf of the staff of the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, it gives me immense pleasure to add my welcome to this year's conference. Every year, the Regulatory Information Conference provides a unique opportunity for all those involved in the safe and secure use of radioactive materials to meet and discuss key issues of the day. As I begin, I'd like to thank each of you for your daily contributions to the safety and security of nuclear, and I look forward to interacting with you during the conference. I'd also like to acknowledge in particular the presence of our many international counterpart regulators. We are engaged in, to coin a phrase used by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in his 1963 letter from a Birmingham jail, an inescapable network of mutuality. Our network is nuclear safety. So I thank you for your presence and participation in this event. Finally, I want to add my thanks to the many people in the offices of Nuclear Reactor Regulation and Nuclear Regulatory Research, as well as other volunteers who, as always, contribute so much to the success of this conference. As many of you know, last month, the NRC lost one of its heroes, Harold Denton. Mr. Denton was the director of the Office of Nuclear Reactor Regulation during the accident at the 3 Mile Island nuclear station and became the lead communicator between the NRC and President Jimmy Carter and with Governor Richard Thornburg of Pennsylvania. His ability to accurately assess the plant's condition and explain it to the public earned him the trust of federal and state officials, local residents, and the media. At the NRC, we will remember Harold Denton for his leadership, his calm demeanor, his technical expertise, and his dedication to NRC's mission of ensuring public health and safety. 9 years ago, in February of 2008, Bill Borchert, who was at the time the head of the newly formed Office of New Reactors, provided a status report on NRC's new plant licensing and inspection program to attendees at a nuclear conference held in this location. In his key messages, Bill noted that the nuclear renaissance had begun, and the licensing workload was very large, that the regulatory foundation necessary to implement the safe licensing of new reactors was set under 10 CFR Part 52, and that the NRC had created a new reactor construction function in Region 2 and centralized our vendor inspection activities in the Office of New Reactors. He stated that the NRC has already received 5 combined license applications for 8 units, and we are expecting to receive more for a total projected workload of 20 combined operating license applications for 31 units by the end of 2009. Well, suffice it to say, things have changed. And the NRC, as well as the U.S. nuclear industry, continues to operate in a dynamic period of transition. I will talk more about change a little later in my remarks, but I want to first frame a small regulatory window through which to view this past year. 2016 was indeed another busy and productive year at the NRC. We maintained a clear focus and priority on the full range of our domestic safety and security responsibilities. When I consider our accomplishments, however, 2 significant initiatives stand out. Implementation of safety improvements prompted by the accident at Fukushima Daiichi, and secondly, Project AIM, as the chairman indicated. Following the March 2011 accident at Fukushima Daiichi, The NRC evaluated the lessons learned and prioritized its recommendations into tiers that related to the urgency of the action and the need for additional information to develop an approach. As you can see from this graphic, which I first showed last year, the NRC has made substantial progress in addressing those lessons learned and implemented the most significant safety enhancements on or ahead of established schedules. We accomplished this by applying innovative approaches, demonstrating our principles of good regulation, independence, clarity, openness, reliability, and efficiency, and leveraging input from stakeholders to focus on risk-informed and cost-effective safety margin enhancements. I am pleased to note that the majority of the safety benefit from the actions taken in response to the accident in Japan was in place at the end of 2016, within the expected 5-year implementation objectives set forth by the Commission. As a result of our shared efforts, U.S. nuclear plants are better prepared for extreme natural hazards and other beyond design basis events. The NRC staff is currently transitioning the post-Fukushima activities to long-term inspection and oversight under our existing regulatory programs. This has been a significant undertaking, and both the NRC and affected licensees and stakeholders can take pride in what has been accomplished to enhance nuclear safety in the United States. Project AIM was initiated by my predecessor and the Chief Financial Officer and championed by former Chairman McFarland as a strategic initiative to enhance the NRC's ability to plan and execute its mission while adapting in a more timely, effective, and efficient manner to a dynamic environment. When this conference was held last year, the Commission was reviewing staff recommendations for a one-time rebaselining of our work and associated resources. Our objective in rebaselining was to identify work that could be shed, deferred, or performed with fewer resources. Most of the 150 specific rebaselining activities approved by the Commission have been implemented, enabling us to reduce our costs by over $48 million and 185 full-time equivalent staff, or FTE. We also completed the major deliverables for each of the 19 discrete Project AIM tasks that were directed by the Commission. While acknowledging the successes to date of Project AIM, we also recognize that the essence of this initiative is a commitment to continued improvement. So we will continue to identify and pursue opportunities to further enhance our effectiveness, efficiency, and agility beyond those specifically directed by the Commission. In addition to the noteworthy achievements beyond the effective implementation of Fukushima lessons learned in Project AIM, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge a few other accomplishments over the past year. I will first mention a notable accomplishment in the U.S. nuclear reactor fleet. The industry finished 2016 with a record low total of 54 scrams. This is a new low, both in terms of the absolute number of scrams and the ratio of scrams per unit. There were decreases across the board in automatic and manual scrams at both pressurized and boiling water reactors. There was also a record number of plants, 66, that did not experience any unplanned shutdowns in 2016, and of those, 4 have not experienced a single scram in at least 10 years. Given the objective shared by NRC and reactor plant operators to limit the frequency of events that could upset plant stability and challenge critical safety functions, the reduction in scram frequency represents a remarkable accomplishment. As for NRC noteworthy accomplishments, I'd highlight the following. First, our licensing and oversight activities. We executed in these areas in a manner that ensured the continuing safe and secure operation of nuclear power plants and fuel cycle facilities, as well as the safe and secure possession and use of radioactive materials, including several high-profile inspection efforts for operational safety performance issues. At the same time, we implemented substantial process improvements that reestablished our high standards for timeliness of licensing action reviews. We also provided effective regulatory oversight of the Tennessee Valley Authority's Watts Bar Unit 2 as TVA completed construction activities, performed startup and power ascension testing, and successfully transitioned Unit 2 to commercial operations. Regarding the availability of the medical isotope molybdenum, or Moly 99 for those who can't pronounce molybdenum. We completed our safety review and issued a construction permit to Shine Medical Technologies for a first-of-a-kind facility dedicated to medical isotope production, and are also engaging Northwest Medical Isotopes on its application for a similar facility. Regarding new reactor construction, we issued combined licenses to Duke Energy for 2 new AP1000 reactors at the Levy nuclear site in Florida and 2 new AP1000 reactors at the Williams States Lee site in South Carolina. We also demonstrated the NRC's readiness and capabilities to execute its continuity of operations plans through successful participation in the federally mandated and externally graded full deployment exercise, Eagle Horizon 2016. In the area of nuclear regulatory research, we developed numerous high-quality and relevant research products, including new risk-informed methods to ensure vessel and piping integrity for plants considering subsequent license renewal, improved human reliability data and methods, and more realistic modeling to remove unnecessary conservatisms in PRA models, and refined analysis of the performance of ice condenser containment performance under accident conditions, which confirms the safety of operating plants and helped close several Fukushima lessons learned activities. We also published a number of important rulemaking and guidance documents, including an advance notice of proposed rulemaking on potential changes to agency regulations governing decommissioning of nuclear power plants, and a final rule establishing a separate fee structure for light small water reactors. Of particular note, as directed by the Commission, we recently deployed a new rulemaking tracking system. This new system, which actually went live on this past Friday on our public website 2 months ahead of schedule, provides publicly accessible, detailed information on NRC rulemaking on a real-time basis. Regarding operator licensing, we completed a substantial update of the operator licensing examiner standards found in New Reg 1021. This reflects a significant lessons learned review that will promote greater consistency and reliability in our execution of that important program. And finally, as part of our efforts to maintain regular communications with our stakeholders and meet our strategic plan commitment to openness and meaningful public participation in the NRC decision-making process, we conducted over 900 public meetings on a range of NRC issues. This is just a small sample of many accomplishments over the past year, and each one indicates the importance of NRC remaining a strong, independent, and technically capable regulator. As I indicated in my opening, the NRC and the regulated industry are in a period of transition. At the NRC, we view this as an important opportunity to become an even better safety regulator, one that continues to successfully accomplish its mission with the active involvement of stakeholders. Driving this effort is our solid nuclear safety culture, the NRC's principles of good regulation, our organizational values, integrity, service, openness, cooperation, commitment, excellence, and respect, all of which combine to provide a strong foundation for accomplishing our work. While the evidence shows the NRC has remained focused on its mission, we also acknowledge the need to embrace and proactively respond to change. Among the areas that continues to change is our budget. In response to reduction in our workload, the NRC budget has declined over the past 6 years, and we have adjusted our staffing resources accordingly. As shown in this graphic, the size of the NRC workforce has fallen since 2011 by 18%, more than 700 FTE. The magnitude and timing of this reduction makes it the most significant decline in our history. In fact, our projected staffing for fiscal year 2017 is less than what our staffing level was for fiscal year 2007. The NRC has taken, and we continue to take, a thoughtful approach to right-sizing the NRC's workforce based on our best understanding of the current and anticipated work. We are working to adapt more quickly to change, again, as the chairman alluded to, while ensuring we retain the capability and the capacity to remain an effective nuclear safety regulator. As I indicated earlier, the NRC anticipated applications for 31 new nuclear power plants by the end of 2009. When the new reactor construction work did not fully materialize, we received feedback from some of our stakeholders that our response to changes that were occurring within the nuclear industry, including the diminished interest in new build, was too slow. Upon reflection, this criticism was not inconsistent with our own self-assessment. Although we suspended our planned hiring in the new reactors area, we could have acted more quickly to redeploy onboard staff to address the surging Fukushima workload and stem the growing reactor licensing backlog. This experience was a lesson learned, and it highlighted the importance of being able to respond in a more agile manner to significant changes in our workload and external environment. With this in mind, last fall, I issued a change management strategy to the NRC staff. The strategy lays out specific actions and communicates expectations that are important to enable us to complete the project management aspects of changes with the people aspects. The three-tiered strategy includes activities to encourage employee growth and development, enable innovation to identify efficiencies, and foster a work environment in which people are engaged and equipped to embrace change. We are now employing this strategy to guide change at all levels of the NRC, from business lines down to individual branches, to support continued achievement of the agency's vision to be a trusted, independent, and effective nuclear regulator. As I mentioned previously, the most important job we do at the NRC is to ensure safety and security of operating reactors, fuel cycle facilities, and materials licensees. That's fundamental. Earlier, I mentioned our focus on efforts to improve effectiveness, efficiency, and agility stemming from Project AIM. At the same time, our workload continues to evolve as we meet a number of existing and emerging challenges. Decommissioning remains a growing part of our workload, and the agency continues to have a robust, ongoing program in place to address decommissioning. Since the last Regulatory Information Conference, one additional unit has entered decommissioning, and 3 additional units announced their intention to shut down before the end of their licenses. However, recently 4 units reversed their decisions to shut down early following the passage of legislation in New York and Illinois that improved the financial outlook for those plants. As directed by the Commission in 2014, the NRC staff continues to work on a rulemaking addressing power reactor transition to decommissioning. The rulemaking basis was issued this past Friday. The draft rulemaking basis was issued this past Friday, and we expect to deliver the draft final rule package to the Commission in 2019. A presentation regarding decommissioning rulemaking will be provided at a RIC technical session this afternoon. Another issue receiving significant ongoing attention both within and outside of the NRC is our backfit process. And this process allows imposition of new requirements on existing NRC licensees under several very specific circumstances. As the chairman mentioned, a number of actions have taken place since the last Regulatory Information Conference on the topic of backfits, including taskings I issued to the NRC's Committee to Review Generic Requirements, or CRGR, to carry out a comprehensive review of backfit guidance, training, and knowledge management activities. I expect to receive a final response from the CRGR later this spring, and will consider its findings and recommendations carefully. As of the end of 2016, 45 of the 99 reactor units are operating in a period of extended operation, that is, operating for more than 40 years. Plants in that group will begin to reach the end of their first periods of extended operations starting in 2029, and we expect to receive the first application for subsequent license renewal from among this group of plants within the next 2 years. The 2 major guidance documents that support subsequent license renewal activities, the Generic Aging Lessons Learned Report, or GAL report, which provides acceptable methods for managing aging once a plant enters the period of extended operations, and the Standard Review Plan, are being updated to support periods of operation beyond 60 years. Both updated documents will be issued this summer. We continue to make progress in several areas that have both safety and efficiency benefits, such as updating our licensing framework for digital instrumentation and controls, exploring the research and licensing needs for new fuel designs, and increasing our use of risk-informed approaches. In early January, NuScale Power submitted the first design certification application for a small modular reactor. The agency has been working closely with NuScale since it completed a cooperative agreement for funding from the U.S. Department of Energy in 2014. The NRC staff's acceptance review is nearing completion, and we should have a determination on acceptability for docketing shortly. Also in January, the agency informed the Tennessee Valley Authority, again, or TVA, that its early site permit application for the Clinch River nuclear site in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, was acceptable for docketing. We are developing a full review schedule with public milestones, and will send a schedule letter to TVA next month. To prepare for the review of advanced non-light water reactor applications, we have developed a vision and strategy to ensure NRC's readiness to conduct its mission for these technologies effectively and efficiently. This vision and strategy was most recently updated and made publicly available in December of 2016. It identifies three strategic objectives. First, enhancing technical readiness. Secondly, optimizing our regulatory readiness. And thirdly, optimizing communication. We're also preparing implementation action plans to identify specific activities the NRC will conduct in the near term, midterm, and long term to achieve non-light water reactor readiness. We expect to complete a draft of both midterm and long-term implementation action plans in 2017, including an examination of whether a risk-informed, performance-based regulatory framework for non-light water reactors would be beneficial, effective, and efficient. The NRC is also developing advanced reactor design criteria and conducting public meetings and workshops to discuss ongoing activities, challenges in the commercialization of non-light water reactor technologies and possible solutions. These and other challenges have our full attention. Not only are they important to successfully fulfilling our mission, but they also present opportunities to become a more effective, efficient, and agile regulator as we confront them with the active involvement of our stakeholders. Last year, in my first RIC remarks as NRC's Executive Director for Operations, I spoke about priorities for the agency, namely mission, people, values, and communications. Although times of transition can be distracting, our experience shows that organizations are successful when their people stay focused on what's most important. Therefore, we have continued to maintain focus on these priorities throughout the past year as we fulfilled our mission, responded to challenges, and actively pursued and implemented change. I'm confident that these priorities have and will continue to contribute to NRC's success. But there's still no doubt transition can be difficult. Winston Churchill once said, "A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty." I look back with pride at our ability to stay positive and remain focused on successfully fulfilling our mission in these times of transition. And I look forward with enthusiasm to the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead, as well as the opportunity to productively engage with you in addressing them. Thank you for your attention, and I'd be happy to answer a few questions.
So, Vic, we do have time for a few questions, and actually this one just came up that I thought, here, I got some water for you right here. Yeah. And, hi, Vic. Can you share your thoughts on Army versus Navy 2016?
So sometimes anomalies do happen. And next year we'll begin another 14-year streak. This year.
Okay. Actually, a couple good themes that were raised by some of these questions here. So let me start with this one, and it's not dissimilar to a number of the questions that came in for Chairman Savinicki, and it relates to senior management support of risk-informed regulatory approaches that Some levels of the staff do not appear to embrace these principles to the same extent. What can senior management do to ensure staff and senior management are appropriately aligned on these issues?
So I think the chairman was spot on. We are on a journey in the area of risk informing our approach to regulations. And it's not a journey we've just begun. It's one we embarked on decades ago. And Bill, I want to congratulate you and all your efforts, of course, in operating reactors to further invigorate, further move us along the path in this journey. There are opportunities in the near term we're focused on in light of the investment, if you would, in diverse and flexible strategies to address the lessons learned from Fukushima. We're working collaboratively with stakeholders to identify opportunities to credit flex equipment and, again, flex strategies, both in our assessment of performance deficiencies as well as encouraging licensees to incorporate those flex strategies in their probabilistic safety assessments. There are opportunities in the area of tornado missiles. We're working with the industry on a risk-informed approach to tornado missiles. There are even opportunities that I alluded to in the review of new reactor applications. The new scale, the safety-focused review for the new scale design incorporates a lot of risk information. So we are moving out on that opportunity. And I know we're also focused on increasing training opportunities for staff in the area of risk information. So again, we are on a journey, and I believe we will we'll reach our, we're on a quest to become a more risk-informed, performance-based agency, and I believe we're moving along that path.
Okay, thanks, Vic. So there's a couple of questions associated with advanced non-light water reactors. And I think the essence of these questions is, can you say anything about the need to perform anticipatory research? And then what is the agency doing to assure that we have adequate expertise to address advanced reactor licensing needs?
Okay. So among the areas that we are examining as part of the three-pronged approach on advanced non-light water reactors includes conducting research in areas that we need to make sure that we're better prepared to conduct both an effective and an efficient review of non-light water reactor designs. Our Office of Nuclear Regulatory Research is certainly partnering with our Office of New Reactors to ensure that we've identified those areas and we leverage the resources that we have to make sure that we're, again, ready for those applications. We also recognize that we need to build a capacity within the staff to have the requisite skills to undertake those reviews. So we'll be very thoughtful and disciplined about both the number of resources and the training opportunities that we provide them to be ready to carry out those reviews.
Okay. So this question is actually related to an industry initiative. How do you anticipate the NRC will respond to industry initiatives to address industry viability with the Delivering the Nuclear Promise cost reduction efforts?
So we've been very engaged with the industry on this initiative. And our focus is on those aspects of the initiative that could impact the regulatory requirements that we have on licensees. Corrective action programming, right sizing happens to be one of them. And thus far, we've been, we have not identified any areas that would cause us concern and as the industry moves forward in this important area.
Okay. This next question is associated with subsequent license renewal. What strategy does the agency have to keep the subsequent license renewal processes within the current or established license renewal processes utilized by the agency and the industry?
So although I'm not sure I understand completely the question, I would indicate that from a regulatory perspective, we're using the existing regulation in Part 54 to guide our approach to license renewal. I alluded to the update to the generic aging lessons learned report, as well as a standard review plan that will be issued later this summer to support subsequent license renewal. So that provides the framework. This is an area that we feel confident that we can be successful in, not only because of the existing plants. The 87 of the 99 have received a license for subsequent license renewal, for initial license renewal. So we have the infrastructure, we have the resources in place to carry out those reviews in an effective manner. And again, with the updates to the GAL and the standard review plan, we have the framework to complete the reviews.
Okay. So we have time, I think, for 2 more questions. So this question is with respect to backfitting. Good progress has been made to bringing discipline to the backfitting program. How is the NRC going to institutionalize these achievements?
Okay. So that's one of the, thanks for the question. That's one of the objectives of the taskings to the committee to review generic requirements that we will receive shortly. The recommendations that they make and that I and then the commission consider to the area of training and knowledge management and the adequacy of the guidance, the completeness of the guidance, the level of detail in the requirements, in the guidance rather, is our goal is to institutionalize that so we don't have to do it again in another 3 to 5 years. So that is one of the primary goals, is to institutionalize improve guidance, training, and again, knowledge management activities so that we increase the understanding, the consistency, the reliability of our backfit process.
Okay. And then there was a number of questions related to staffing in a declining workforce. And so this is actually maybe a multiple part. But as the staff resources at the agency are reduced, what is the NRC doing to manage reinventing the wheel environment as new staff come on board to replace departing staff? And then also, what is being done to ensure the quality and efficiency of our activities as the staff declines in size?
Okay. So that is truly a multi-part question. This is a challenging area for NRC. It's certainly a challenge for our leadership team. NRC, as many in the industry that we regulate have done for a number of years, have focused on knowledge management because we recognize we're going through transition with the people who do the great work for us. So we are intensifying our knowledge management activities so that we have, again, capable people doing the work of the agency. As for the reduction in our staffing levels, again, that is an area of concern because when we don't replenish our staff, we get older, and if we lose people, we want to make sure that we have the right number, an adequate number, as well as an adequate capability in people that we have on board. So that's an area that we'll be giving increased attention in the coming months because having a capable staff is essential to us fulfilling our mission now and in the future.
So thank you, Vic. The Executive Director for Operations, Victor McCree.